Oh, what's up, you guys? Today, in this video, I'm gonna give you a tour of my engine room. Come on. First off, if you haven't been watching our videos, this is a 1978 DeFever 43 Trawler. We bought this boat for $100. We've been working our butts trying to get it back into the condition that she belongs in. And a lot of my evenings have been spent down in this engine room, just cleaning up, getting the systems back in order, getting the engines tuned up, and so far, so good. We'll start with the tour with just the heart of the engine room. The two 120 horsepower Lehman diesel engines. These are like big old tractor engines that they've marinized. They're 6-cylinder, no turbos or anything like that. Mechanical injection pump. Not much electronics at all, just this starter and then like an oil sensor and the electric solenoid stop. Pretty simple engines, robust diesel engines. We get around 1.5 gallons to 2 gallons per hour at cruising speed, which is 7.5 to 8 knots per engine. So we're burning 3 to 4 gallons per hour in total when we're cruising at 7.5 to 8 knots, which is pretty good. Efficient little engines pushing this boat at displacement speeds. We'll keep walking back. We'll go back and then we'll go forward first. So these are two big diesel tanks. So they're 325 gallons each. That's 650 gallons total of diesel. They're mild steel tanks, so you got to keep an eye on them. Make sure that they don't rust. So we just make sure that, like, on the tops of the tanks, there's no water dripping on them or anything like that. And so far, so good. Knock on wood. Back here, we have all our filters and our intake manifold and our return manifold, so we can basically control where all the fuel is being pulled from, whether it's that tank or that tank, and where it's being used, whether it's the generator, the two engines, or the transfer / polishing pump and filter. And it runs through the ray cores first, obviously, then the onboard engine filters. And then we can also control where that fuel gets returned to using the return manifold, so you can make it go back to that tank or make it go back to that tank. Here's our 5.5 kW next gen generator. It's a little Kubota engine in there. One of our patrons, Kenneth, gave this to us when he upgraded his generator, so it's still super functional and it's been amazing for us. Perfect match for this boat. 5.5 kilowatts. Yeah, good little generator. Runs off the same diesel tanks that the engines do. And then just the star battery for the generator itself. Our two stainless steel water tanks, one on that side, one on that side. We have been so spoiled with how much fresh water we have on this boat. Like, we've been taking, usually on boats you can serve shower water, like you rinse, turn the water off, soap up, and then rinse off and just try to take real short showers. We've been taking like full on like house showers, and the water still lasts like a month when we're cruising. It's unbelievable. So right up here we have our water heater. So it's powered by just 120 volt AC. That's either from shore power or when the generator's running, or potentially off the inverter, although that would suck our battery bank down pretty quickly, so we don't do that. But it also gets heated up by the coolant from this starboard engine. So when this engine's been running for a while, it heats up all the water in that tank. We got our refrigerator compressor over there, our power steering fluid reservoir, our start bank, our water pump, water filter. This is a big old electric generator that came with the boat that wasn't hooked up, and I never got to hooking it up. So maybe someday. I don't even know if it works or it's worth it or whatever. So over here, this is like, if the engines are the heart of the engine room, this is like the heart of like the liveabord part of the boat. So the big old lithium battery bank. So we have 600 amp hours of Dakota lithium power at 12 volts. Which has been amazing for us on this boat. These are lithium iron phosphate, the safest lithium chemistry you can get. And yeah, 600 amp hours of lithium when you can discharge it down to 20% is amazing. It's a huge capacity, bigger than we've ever had. Then over here we have all our charging components, our charger, DC to DC chargers, our distributor / fuses in there, and then switches and stuff like that. So I don't know if I showed you, this is our our start battery bank, which are just a bunch of 12-volt lead acid batteries, just conventional, whatever. Start our 2 engines here. So we got like our shop rags up here, our spare anchor where the previous owner had it. We never moved it. All our spare generator stuff, thanks Kenneth. Up in that box stored in there, some spare belts, emergency belts, a bunch of spare hoses and parts and stuff up there. Filters, a ton of filters. And then on the right up here we have our just some WD-40 and extra engine oil, engine degreaser cleaner, so we keep it nice and tidy down here. When we bought the boat, it didn't have any bilge floors or panels. Actually, there was some like old rotten wood, so we just got some marine ply from Home Depot and just painted them with a 2-part epoxy primer, and those are our bilge floors. So it gives us a nice flat surface to walk on in here, and it just covers the bilge where there's always a little bit of water down there. Oh, we got a little vise here just in case we need a little vise for working on anything. I originally had like these dome lights all over that didn't work, so instead of trying to figure out all the wiring for that, I just put all these LED strips that I got on Amazon, waterproof 12-volt LED strips, and they work amazing. Like, I put them all over just to create this nice bright white light like all over the engine room, and it really made a huge difference. So and super easy to install. I thought for sure that I was gonna have to like secure them with like zip ties and screws, like mechanically, but the adhesive back has been holding up really well. I'm impressed with how the adhesive back has been holding up because they're pretty cheap on Amazon. We always get a ton of questions about range and maintenance on our engines, so here it is. If we run at our normal operating RPM range and our normal average speed, which is around 7.5 knots, we have a conservative range of around 1,200 nautical miles. If we run one engine at a time, we can run at an average speed of around 6 knots and have a conservative range of around 2,000 nautical miles. And the maintenance on these engines are pretty straightforward. We change the engine oil and transmission oil every 200 hours. We change the fuel filters every other oil change, and we change the injection pump oil every 50 hours. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on this engine room tour. I hope you guys like it. This is the biggest engine room we've ever had before, and it's incredible to be able to like almost stand up in here. And yeah, I cleaned it up, made it as nice and neat and organized as I possibly could, and still a work in progress, but pretty dang good. Neatest, cleanest, biggest engine room we've ever had. So hope you guys liked it. Let me know if you want to hear anything more about the engine room in the comments below. Let me know what you think, if you have any questions, and thanks for coming along. And for your entertainment, here's a look back at some of our other engine rooms on our previous boats. Here is the engine room on Neverland, a 34-foot Marine Trader Trawler. And here is the engine room, which is not really a room, on Adrenaline, our 1988 Crowther Spindrift Catamaran.